Yeah, I know it's hard for me to say because I don't live in London, so I don't know much about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And my connections are mostly with Manchester, which is,
Yeah,
to
but
my
that's-
mind, is
yeah.
the most radical city I know.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me
You know,
more about
people,
that.
Well, you know, long may it continue, but it's,
Yeah.
I can see on Facebook people are moving out further out into their big housing estates. People are having real difficulty getting housing. People talk about leaving. You know, there's a real change happening. I can just see from my Facebook posts with my friends. But so I was there a couple of years ago when this change was just beginning. But it's on steroids now. But because it's got lots of warehouse space, because it's a very mixed, you know, intersectional, as you would say, you know, people from all over. Because I think massively, you never ever get. Nobody ever reviews Manchester. You know, now a bit more. It's just become a bit more hip now. But for many years, you'd do things and no one would ever write about it or analyse it. So it was very. You could do what the fuck you wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no one to say, "Oh, this isn't very good." You know. So it could be as crappy as anything, or as brilliant as that. You know what I mean? And so I think it's has evolved quite a unique style. I saw some photos of you with Joshua Hubbard. Yeah, so you know him. So just a couple of days ago, he's got.
Is he from Manchester?
He's from Manchester, dancer.
Oh, Joshua Hubbard. He's cool.
He is. So he's very,
He's
very
a Manchester
much.
lad.
Yeah.
He's
so
wicked.
he's very much from that scene of DIY art creation.
Oh, cool.
Activism, you know.
He's cool.
Aye.
Yeah. He's young now, isn't he?
Yeah. He's older than he was when I knew him first.
Yeah,
I don't know him well.
He's quite a like.
But he does tons and tons of you know, club nights. Not him, you know, he doesn't put the club nights on, but he'll dance and and provide, do stuff.
Oh, we should all go for a pint when you're next down. You, me, and Josh. He's really cool.
Is he living in London now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know he tried to live in London before, but it didn't work. I don't think.
Yeah, he's really cool. I've got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's tons of people who I think. I mean, you know. These days, I guess, my links are much more with the arts and creativity than straight activism, but I wouldn't be interested in the arts and that wasn't related to it, so it's where it ties together.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so excited about this film I'm making, because it's
tell us a bit more about like what excites you about the. Yeah, this relates. Tell us a bit more about the film that you're making, and in the context of both the content of it and the process, like. As a radical archivist, why is it important, Rebel Dykes, as a archive, as a film? Why do we need to? Do you know what I mean? What's radical about archiving? What's an archivist?
Yeah, well, I mean,
because that's what Tours of London is all about.
What's very exciting for me about, and I think you're the same. I think you see history the same as me. Historical stuff, is that I see it as a tool, a tool for community development.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's so this CIC that I'm making. The film is only like a fifth of that, and it's all of the sort of community development elements. So, like putting on this one day, even the page and people meeting, and you know what I mean, and you know, online but. And it's the same with the work I'm doing in Air. But if I told you I'm supposed to be doing this presentation at this LGBT history thing in a couple of weeks about the old cruising sites and the bars that people used to drink
in Air.
No,
I'd love to hear more about it.
I know, because everywhere. But the reason why I'm doing it is because there's no better way to get people to talk than, particularly older people, you know, and younger people to listen, is talking about stories, really. I mean, and that's the same with film, and it's all about. So it's about. So it's, to me, history as a way, using the history with the Rebel Dykes project, is about using the history to create community, to create intergenerational conversation, inspiration, both ways. I mean, my older lesbians bloody need a bit of inspiration too.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of, and it happened to me when I left the activist community for a while, sort of when I was moved up here and got into nursing and all of that sort of stuff. I thought it had stopped, and it's a very, very common fallacy amongst older LGBT people that we were really active but since then the younger people have all stopped because they can't see it.
Yeah.
So it's really important, I think, for people to see each other.
Yes.
Yeah, because you wouldn't know, you know, unless you dig around, you wouldn't know there was LGBT activism going on.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think it's very easy. Yeah, I mean, if you know, normally when you speak to an older LGBT person, lesbian, and I've got experience of, they'll say, "Oh, we were radical, but the ones now aren't." And I say, "Oh, it's not you. You must be down class." And I've actually referred a few people to like sexual Avengers, you know, online, just to say, "No, hang on a second. It's still going on, just the same. You know, maybe different words, maybe different language." But you'll recognise them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And some are like, I've got friends, of course, from the community who are trans exclusionary. You know.
Yeah.
You know, don't like the word TERF because don't like labels in general.
Yeah.
But you know, who have problems with trans people coming into women-only spaces and all of that, because they don't really, because they don't really understand what's happening now about you know, because the language is difficult.
Yeah.
You know, people, you know, use the word cis and people stop listening.
Yeah.
Or the word TERF, people still. I try not to.
Yeah.
You know, to me, they're just handy labels. I think TERF is problematic.
Yeah.
Particularly when they call Donald Trump a TERF.
Yeah.
But you know, but cis is a really difficult word to use with older people because it really gets the back up. And what's the point in that? I've found it difficult. You know, new things are difficult, and we have to understand that. And so using the word cis is, if it's going to put people off, it's really difficult. I guess another one for me is really difficult. You know, my partner's non-binary. I can't call her she. She doesn't mind what she gets called. But I find the word they very difficult. You know, I forget it. I use the wrong pronouns because not because I'm transphobic. I promise you I'm not. But because my brains aren't as malleable as people think. So when younger people say, "Oh, you can learn that now," be patient. You know, be patient between the generations and don't judge. Don't judge people just because they get the pronouns wrong. Because it's not like my partner's great because she really doesn't. Well, she lives in a men's world, so she. I mean, she's. I don't know if you know. She's a trans. Complicated. Non-binary. It's easy. Thank God we've got that word because she's lived non-binary all her life and not knowing what she was.
Amazing.
You know, called herself a trans woman, but that didn't fit because she doesn't pass as a woman. She doesn't even try. She's post-op. She's not trying. She's just like neither here nor there, as we used to say. But
nice.
Non-binary.
Nice.
But so she doesn't mind about pronouns.
Yeah, and then we've had some good chats before about. The spirit of how queer, rebel dyke, like queer anarchists, the spaces have changed. Like, you know, when you were like, you know, the identity politics stuff, the general spirit and atmosphere of queer spaces. That's been really interesting.
I think I've noticed this massively when I moved to Glasgow.
Yeah.
So I got involved with the Free Pride movement when I got here because I always like alternative prides and all of that. Yeah. But I've actually withdrew almost instantly because I found it was all about rules and being told off and doing. You were terrified if you're going to do something wrong or say something wrong. Instead of it being about be as free as you can and if you upset me, we'll discuss it. You know what I mean? Instead of go as far as you can, it's go as. So I find those sort of, when I see those sort of safe space posters that say "do not" in every single word, I want to leave the room because I don't like those sort of instructions. Yeah. Whereas if it said, you know, all genders and all ages and are welcome here.
How you frame it,
Exactly. Then you'd feel welcome.
Yeah.
And then generally people in those spaces don't. You know, aren't bad people. You know, and if they are, challenge that, but don't. Maybe. To me, I don't know. Jack Habaspan, I'm bad with names. Who's a